Hannah and George from Do God Property here. We're going to just talk through with you today some of the issues or problems we've seen with coronavirus affecting property businesses. We've been inundated with questions and people asking for advice and how we're handling the impact on our business. So we've made a few notes and we just want to have a chat and talk through what we've witnessed and what measures we're putting in place to see if they can help you as well. So we'll discuss service accommodation, because we've got a rent to service accommodation unit in Newport, and obviously service accommodation's been heavily impacted. And then we'll also talk through buy to lets as well, whether you're going through the process of purchasing one or you're already running one and you're facing some issues there as well.
So pretty much they're the two things we're going to go over. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is service accommodation. So that's the first thing we're going to look at. So we've got some notes here that we've been jotting down over the past, week or so, haven't we? And just been discussing, we've been discussing quite heavily, really, haven't we, about everything. And we just thought we'd jot some notes down and just go through them and discuss at the same time with you guys, so you can sort of learn off us and what we've learned through our research. So the problem we see with serviced accommodation at the moment is obviously if your serviced accommodation is attracting people that, the tourism industry, so people that are going to say from holiday, or they're going to events or something like that, it's having a big impact at the moment because of events are being cancelled. People are not travelling around, airports are shut. They're looking to go into lockdown.
Flights are cancelled and all sorts, aren't they? So it's heavily affecting the hospitality market. I think for us, we're targeting the contractor market, but again, with everyone being told to work from home where they can, we're still seeing a huge impact on bookings. So we've been working really closely with our management team to discuss what measures we can put in place and what we can do to mitigate some of the issues that we're facing. So they've come up with some really good ideas and ones that they're implementing on all of the properties that they're looking after. So some of them is to focus more on direct bookings, and one that is working quite well at the moment is to offer heavily discounted prices and run promotions at the same time.
So this morning our management company actually gave us a call to say that, last week we got some contractors in for a week and we got them at a discounted price. We put on a promotion for them, and then this morning he had a conversation with them, and we've actually got them in for the next couple of months. It is at a discounted rate, but in these times that is absolutely brilliant that we're just about breaking even. I mean, if we're breaking even, then in these times that's brilliant. At least we're not making a loss, and that is due to the actions that we've taken in order to survive through these times. I mean, we don't know, no one knows how long this period's going to take, but from watching the news and stuff like that, and looking at the people that are in it every single day, like Boris, he's thinking about 12 weeks, isn't he? And if we can get through this period and just break even, I'm happy, and so should everyone else be.
It's just about surviving at the moment, isn't it? Everyone wants their business to get through, and the government's putting a lot of things in place to help businesses. But obviously there's a lot going on and there's a lot of serious issues with people dying, but you still need your business to work and you still need to be able to see through and get through this period. So being able to break even, that's what we're aiming for at the moment. Something that we are advertising, obviously with service accommodation you have regular cleans anyway, especially during stays, but what we're implementing is there is a clear 24-hour break between stays, so we can have a thorough deep clean to make sure that there's no problems there, and that's covered, so we can be vigilant and keep the hygiene up for our guests.
And we're allowing one night stays as well, whereas we weren't before. Just to get every opportunity we can to get guests in order to cover the costs, really, in this time. And it's also great to advertise the fact that we've got a house, and we advertise that you can isolate away, rather than hotels where there's loads of people around. We're sort of an entire house where you can self-isolate, so we sort of advertise that as well to attract more people to our serviced accommodation unit.
And then, as we've mentioned, the guests that we've got in at the moment are contractors. A lot of contractors still need to fulfil the contracts that they've agreed to. not everyone can work from home, so maybe if you've been targeting the hospitality market, maybe you can now look to see if you can attract the contractors during this time. And one of the tips that we got given, which was quite good, maybe reusing the house for something that where you can help everyone at the moment. So maybe looking to build connections with local hospitals or care homes to offer support, and maybe use your property for that as well. So and with something like that can also generate an opportunity then if you're building that relationship going forward.
Yeah, I also saw on a Facebook thread the other day an interesting comment from someone that was pretty much saying that look at the hotels, look at all the the projects that are going around in your area, and maybe just go to the extent of literally calling in and just saying, well, guys, where are you staying at the moment? We have this opportunity. We're offering discounted rates. To even go to that extent, you don't know what's going to come off this conversation. So you could see a van, like people, new developments, see a van. They might be coming from other places like Bristol or something. You could say to them, look, you can stay at our place for a discounted rate. We just need to cover the costs at the moment, and they'll be happy to. So they're sort of measures you can look to take as well, direct bookings and contractors and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the main thing with service accommodation is just cutting costs where you can. You want to make your company as lean as possible, so you don't have massive overheads. Like I just said, cut costs where you can. But I think if any of those things you can't implement and they're not working well, then obviously start to speak to your landlord now. Don't bury your head. Open up those conversations and say, like, no one foreseen this, or no, especially if it's rent to service accommodation, you're offering guaranteed rent, but no one could have called this. So you need to open up those conversations now, start discussion what measures you could put in place, maybe have a reduction in rent that you can obviously then make up once this is passed.
Yeah, and the fact that, I don't know if you've just said that, did you, about the mortgage breaks?
No.
Well, yeah. So the landlords as well. They may be able to get a mortgage break with a lot of lenders are doing mortgage breaks at the moment, especially Halifax. I know they're doing it, 100%. And you could just say to them that you could get a mortgage break, and you can knock on the effects where we don't have to pay rent right now, but then in the summer when this all blows over, hopefully, and business gets good, then we can start paying you back that extra money in bits. So everyone's got to work together, and if everyone works together, there can definitely be a solution here. I think, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. And with everything, you have to remain positive. It is a really bad time that everyone's going through at the moment. But always see the opportunity in things. Look at the positives, stay positive. Everyone needs to come together, but look at the opportunities. So for service accommodation, for example, a lot of people aren't willing to put these mitigations in place. A lot of people aren't willing to test the water and see what they can do. They just pull in the plug straight away. It reduces your competition. So if this in 12 weeks time everyone can go back to normal, who's to say you're not going to have better profits then, because there's going to be less competition around?
Yeah, and in terms of opportunities as well, the government are also offering quite a lot of grants and loans and stuff to help businesses at this time. Boris said in his speech yesterday, he was like, we will stand by businesses. I think they're giving £10,000 grants to 700,000 of the smallest businesses on there.
For what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
It'll come to me.
And
You'll benefit from small business rate relief.
Yes, and they're also giving £25,000 to other businesses. There's an article, we'll link it actually on the video. There's an article that pretty much goes through everything that they're looking to do, and I think there's more information being given out on that next week, isn't it?
Yeah, in the coming weeks. So I think just the final point on service accommodation, everyone's going to have a lot more time on their hands now. Everyone's obviously working from home. Use the time wisely. You can catch up on all those admin tasks you've kept putting off. You can look at your business, evaluate it, see what you can do better. Use the time to think of a stronger marketing plan. Just use time wisely so that when it comes to summer and everything's back to normal, your business can thrive.
Yeah, it's making you, just a quick one as well, it's making use of the low interest rates as well at the moment, especially people doing buy to SA. I mean, didn't the Bank of England say yesterday they've dropped it to 0.1, which is absolutely it's never happened in history, has it? So it's unprecedented completely, and obviously if you can take advantage of those at the moment, that's an opportunity that we see as well in this period. It's not all negatives. There is definitely some opportunities.
No, I think that takes us quite nicely onto then the buy-to-let market. So for example, we've got a property at the moment going through conveyancing, and we're using bridging finance. So everyone's now concerned on how the property market's going to react. Is anyone going to be continuing buying properties? Because obviously, you know, with bridging finance, when you go to exit, you want those strong 6-month comparables. But if we're going through conveyancing now, by the time we get through that, by the time we do our refurbishment, by the time we have the chance to get to refinance, in those 6 months, will we have any comparables that will link to the end value that we want? So we've got a lot of discussions going on at the moment, a lot of things that we're looking at to what we can do better. But in terms of the buy-to-let market as a whole, there is uncertainty, isn't there? We were saying yesterday that you could see the growth from the Boris bounce of the property prices going up, but obviously with this again there's more uncertainty, so that's going to slow the growth where people are apprehensive.
Yeah, but a lot of experts, we've read from a lot of articles and stuff, and a lot of experts are saying that what it's pretty much doing is the Boris bounce was going like that, properties were going like that, and now they think it's just going to, you know, dip a tiny bit. They don't think it's going to slow the growth. They don't think it's going to just go boom, because because it's a health crisis at the end of the day, and a lot of people think that we can bounce back quite quickly if the fear goes away.
It's quite interesting actually, because we've spoke to 3 really good agents that we work with regularly, and they've said they're absolutely manic, and they're closing so many sales over the last few days.
Yep.
So
28 sales in the last week.
That was just one agent.
And they're saying that it's not stopping. They're just getting inquiry after inquiry, rentals and sales. It's just going absolutely mad at the moment still. So no one, you know, the fear. If there is this massive fear that people aren't buying, it's not happened yet.
No, it's the unknown though, isn't it? Everyone's discussing this lockdown. What is lockdown? It's all hearsay at the moment. It hasn't been imposed, but in terms of lockdown, what would it mean for builders? I mean, if there's only 1 or 2 of them in a property to carry out a refurb, surely that's still isolating, but can they get the materials they need to carry out a refurb? And if they can't, the refurb stop again. It's all these questions which are posing problems for people. Yeah,
definitely. And I'm guessing you just spoke about the materials as well. Yeah. Okay, so should we go on to the mitigations?
Yeah.
So ways that we can mitigate the problems that we could possibly face in the buy-to-let market.
Yeah.
So
I think you touched on one of the points earlier though, didn't you, about especially for those who are already landlords, have already got tenants in place, tenants may have stopped paying or are starting to discuss about how they're not going to be able to make their rent payments. Well, as George mentioned earlier, a lot of the mortgage companies are offering mortgage holidays. So for landlords, that's something they want to look to. I know everyone's worried about how people may abuse this. I haven't looked into this in detail to know what mortgage companies require in terms of evidence, and I can't imagine they're just granting holidays, but obviously those are in place that you can use if you are facing problems with rent not coming in.
Yeah, so we've we've got quite a few properties coming up that we're going to be bridging on, and we at first we were quite nervous about the whole situation of going onto a bridge. So we spoke to our trusted brokers that we work with quite closely every day, and they're pretty much of the opinion that they're going through with their purchases as well at the moment, and they're not scared of it. And their sort of opinion is that at the moment there's 6-month comparables, and if you speak to agents that, you know, land registry takes quite a while to update. So if you speak to the agents of sales in the last couple of months, maybe the last few weeks, which is even better, and ask them what their properties had sold for, then you've got that comparable that's going to hit land registry soon. And as long as you've got those comparables in the last 6 months, because that's what surveyors work off when they give you a refinance, as long as you've got that in your pocket and you get in and out very quickly, you know, you do your conveyancing, you do your refurb within that 6 months, and then you've still got that 6-month comparable there in order to get your refinance. The only problem would be is if it takes 8 months or something like that, and you go well overboard and you don't refinance until 8 months and you don't use the early revaluation package, the comparables might not be there, because if it does dip in the next couple of months, then they'll be basing them off those comparables rather than the comparables that you've got now that are selling right now. So if you get in and out very quickly, I don't think there's any issue with getting off the bridge. So there's some positives there, definitely.
Yeah, and like you said, when you were speaking to someone the other day, they'd mentioned, well, at the moment, lenders are being encouraged to, well, high street banks are being encouraged to lend by the government are backing them. So even if you do see some down valuations, that might offset each other with low interest rates.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I thought it was just worth noting as well that there was an update yesterday about some of the mortgage lenders that are pulling some of their products.
The specialist ones.
The specialist lenders. So they're pulling their 80% loan to value, which is definitely worth taking note of. And some of them are pulling their early revaluation products as well, aren't they? But
well, I think it's the specialist ones, and what we mean by specialist lenders is not the high street banks. So these are the ones that have different funding lines. So a few of them, I can't remember which one it was off the top of my head. I know we shared Joe Lane's status yesterday detailing this, but some of them have pulled the first time buyer, first time landlord applications, some of them aren't taking new applications, and some of them have pulled their 80% loan to value products, but they are separate to the high street banks. As we've just mentioned, the government are backing the high street banks, and they're staying pretty firm at the moment.
They are staying firm. So there's definitely opportunities here. And the fact that we've already mentioned again that the low interest rates at the moment, absolutely brilliant time to buy. And you know, in this, if it does start dipping as well, the market does start dipping, then it's such an opportunity to get some discounted properties, because all the properties that are going to go on the market, if it does dip, are going to be the ones that need to sell. So people are going to be motivated to sell. So it's really good to get some good deals at the moment. And you taking use of the low interest rates as well, you could just get some absolute bargains at the moment.
Yeah.
And I mean, property, if you've got like a business at the moment, it's definitely not the time to stop advertising yourself and putting yourself out there, because these are the times where people are really scared. They're printing more money. That means the money in the bank is actually devaluing. So, and the low interest rates in the banks as well. So money in the bank at the moment is absolutely useless. And due to the fact that a lot of people think there might be an economic crisis, banks only secure your money up to 85 grand. On top of that, shares are doing absolutely awful at the moment. So, you know, a person that's got wealth and they want to put their money somewhere, they're either going to be looking at property or gold at the moment. So you can be really helping people at the moment to secure their money in an asset that's more reliable than shares at the moment, and the banks.
Yeah, no, good summary. So I think we've covered quite a lot, but I think there's some key things that people need to consider. So we've spoke about rent and mortgage holidays, but I think a lot of people are thinking these are just 3 months that they can get, and they're not understanding that interest will still accrue and the money still needs to be repaid. So when we mentioned about how we may possibly look at a rent reduction with our landlord, it will be to then add on after the 3 months as a repayment plan. So if you are looking into these options, make sure you look into them carefully and make sure you fully understand them as well. Don't just jump in, don't see them as free holidays, because I don't think that's the case.
No, and moving forward, definitely take advantage of these government grants if you can. Look at the eligibility criteria and see if you what's the word? Are eligible for them, and yeah, I mean, they could be absolutely brilliant. They could be a lifesaver for a lot of businesses, especially if you're employing people and you have to, you have a lot of overheads that are going on, and you can cover those overheads with these government grants, because their sort of view, the government is that we're going to get through this very quickly in the next 3 months, and they're just giving us money at the moment to survive through this period, so we can then bounce back as soon as the fear of this coronavirus sort of disappears after the cases start declining, because there are a lot of positives actually going on at the moment, aren't there? I mean, I read an article of tons of positives. For example, China are opening loads of new stores and they're out of lockdown. They've reached the peak of the coronavirus, and China are looking to India think they've got a new cure, don't they?
I have read so much, obviously on BBC. Make
so
sure you're taking your facts from BBC and not just Facebook, but yeah, there's loads of positives.
Sky News was saying that America think they've got a cure now, they just need to do some final testing. And if that happens and that goes out in the media, the scare is going to start going down and people are going to start buying again. So think of that going forward, but make sure you make use of these government grants while they're available. And in a nutshell, really, in this period where people are stuck indoors and people, basically all your customers that you want to attract are going to be indoors at the moment. They're working from home, they're not doing much, they're not going out much, so they're going to be near their computer and near their phone. So this is the time where you can really advertise yourself and push out your services and get in contact with people and build a really good network at this time as well.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of stuff, like, we're all quite well versed now in using technology. Our generation is for sure. But you'll see Paul Fosh has been doing online auctions anyway, but now there'll be a big driver for that. I've seen a lot of estate agents are now offering virtual tours, so make the most of the online stuff that's being made available, because that will allow you to continue to do business as well.
And just the last point before we leave you guys, it's pretty much in these times where stuff gets problematic and it's a situation where everyone's sort of worried, these are the times where you wished before you had looked at the worst case scenario of the deal and you assessed your deal on the worst case scenario and you really did make sure it was a good deal. So going forward, this is sort of a lesson for a lot of people that you need to make sure you look at the best case, the likely case, and then the worst case. And if the worst case you're still okay, then you go through with it, because when shit hits the fans like it is now, you really can, you can sustain this sort of economic, downfall.
Yeah, just make sure you always have a buffer and multiple exit strategies as well. So I think we've covered quite a lot there.
Yeah, I think we've covered quite a lot. And if you have any questions whatsoever, because we have done a lot of research on this, just comment below and we'll get straight back to you. And we'll also leave a few resources in the comments as well.
No, I was just going to say, but we're really keen to hear your thoughts on how your business is doing in this time as well, and what measures you're putting in place. And we've got a few WhatsApp groups and we're all sharing ideas. Pretty much we've just spoken through them all, but we're always trying to reach out and see what everyone else is doing. So
yeah, thanks for listening, guys.
Speak soon.